Good evening, everyone. We're going to go ahead and get started with our special presentations. I apologize, we're a little discombobulated up there today. So good evening. It is with a sense of importance and appreciation that I present tonight's first proclamation, recognizing May as Water Safety Awareness Month. Accepting this proclamation is Chief Jesse Parks. So Chief, could you please come forward? This is his favorite part. He gets to hang out with me. As warmer weather approaches, water parks, beaches, and pools become ideal locations for many of us to visit. However, it's crucial that we understand both the enjoyment and the risk associated with water activities. Acknowledging these risks, the American Red Cross, the National Drowning Prevention Alliance, and numerous other organizations across the nation have united to form the Water Safety Awareness Coalition. Today, it brings me great pleasure to announce that the City Council of Moreno Valley will proclaim the month of May as Water Safety Awareness Month. On behalf of the Mayor, the City Council, and the citizens of Moreno Valley, I am honored to present the following proclamation.
Do you want me to hold it?
Yes, that's a good point. Thank you. It's been a few weeks. Whereas residents of Moreno Valley recognize the vital role that swimming and aquatic-related activities play in promoting good physical and mental health and enhancing the quality of life for all people. Residents of Moreno Valley understand the importance of communicating water safety rules, programs to families and individuals of all ages, whether they are owners of private pools, users of public swimming facilities, or visitors to water parks. The California Department of Public Health reports 3,693 injury deaths due to drowning from 2016 to 2022 among Californians, along with 2,931 hospitalizations and 9,734 emergency room visits for non-fatal drownings. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed that the City Council of the City of Moreno Valley, on behalf of the citizens and staff, hereby proclaims the month of May as Water Safety Awareness Month. Chief, do you have a few words?
Very briefly. Okay. We do still have drownings. They happen every year in the city, and it's always very tragic. And so we thank the council and the mayor for continuing to push that message that there is information out there, there is assistance, and we'd like you to, if you know somebody that needs help, please push that information out and visit our website. Thank you.
All right, well, thank you for your remarks, and with that, we're going to take pictures.
A little bit more, kind of behind him, like how, there we go, yeah. All right, and 1, 2, 3. One. Thank you, as always.
Thank you. You can, might as well. Handsome devil, you. Oh, I didn't know that was on. Good evening, everyone. It is my pleasure to introduce the 2023 Firefighter of the Year, and Mr. Bryant. Captain Bryant, come on up. Everybody out there is envious of your firefighter mustache, and I know that the guy that's going to take your photos is for sure. So beginning his career in the fire service in 2002, Captain Bryant started as a volunteer firefighter at Station 48 in the Sunnymead Ranch. In 2004, he was hired by CAL FIRE, Riverside County Fire, as a Firefighter 1. In 2008, he was promoted to Firefighter 2. Captain Bryant became a licensed firefighter paramedic in 2014. He continued his education and attended the Company Officer Academy, where he earned the credentials to be an engineer paramedic. After 16 years in the fire service at various assignments, in 2020, Captain Bryant proudly accepted the opportunity to return to the Moreno Valley Battalion. He was promoted to fire captain in the city of Moreno Valley as a relief captain. He climbed the ranks earned his status as truck captain, and is currently assigned to Truck 2 at Fire Station 2 since 2022. Captain Bryant has shown himself to be dedicated, knowledgeable, and always with a ready-to-work attitude. His supervisors and peers recognize his knowledge and skills, and he continues to be instrumental in teaching and preparing training in multiple fire service disciplines. He often mentors other firefighters and always available for guidance. These characteristics that Captain Bryant has demonstrated are consistent with the demands and expectations that warrant this distinguished recognition. His passion for the Moreno Valley Fire Department and the city of Moreno Valley and his professional accomplishments are why he is deserving to be Firefighter of the Year 2023. Congratulations. Congrats. So we asked Chief Park to stay up here because he's going to say a few words on behalf of the fire service, congratulating Matt.
Thank you. I've known Matt for a long time. We've worked together for many years. Matt has never wavered in his dedication. He is always very highly motivated. He takes on our training. He keeps his crew safe. He makes them work out, and he takes over the training for the department here in Moreno Valley. And so I'm just very honored and pleased that my friend, Matt Bryant, is getting the Firefighter of the Year. And he's a great family man. I'm not going to make him tear up, but he's a great family man, and it's so great that his family is away and doing a lot of activities. So they can't be here today, but congratulations, Matt. Thank you.
Well said, Chief Park. Well, it is with great pleasure that today, on behalf of the City Council, the Mayor of Moreno Valley, and the citizens of Moreno Valley, a certificate of recognition is awarded to you, sir. I know that's going to be right in your office, right in your office. So, without further ado, can you please say a few words?
Sure. Like Chief Park said, I'll probably get a little bit emotional because that's just my nature. So it's a good thing that my family's not here. The city of Moreno Valley means a lot to me. My family moved here in 1985. That was one of the things that my medic said is always kind of good on calls because I'm relatable to the citizens here when we can talk about the one stoplight that was at Sunnymead and Heacock, and then the growth of the city, how we had to go to Canyon Crest to go grocery shopping, and how everything, obviously you look around the city now and it has grown tenfold. So being able to be here, to be a captain, to drive around if they knew half the things I did through the streets of Moreno Valley as a teenager. They took out the dip that was over at Pigeon Pass and Ironwood when the Albertsons was there. We may or may not jump vehicles off of that across the intersection, but it's an awesome opportunity to be here to serve. Truly, we joke about it in the battalion that we're the best battalion in the whole state of California, that CAL FIRE provides fire protection, right? But at the end of the day, we do run the most calls. We are the busiest battalion in the whole state of California for CAL FIRE. And I believe that it's the effort of not just me, everybody that I get the opportunity to work with in this city. We have had a huge turnover of new firefighters and engineers and even captains that have come into the city, and everybody working together makes all the difference in the world, right? It's not just me. I accept this award on behalf of everybody in the battalion because they apparently had nobody else to vote for, so they picked me, and I'll keep doing my job proudly. I love being a fire captain and working on the truck where we get to do technical rescues and even just run your basic average medical aids in the city. And I hope to continue to serve for a number of more years here. I do live in Arizona, so it's a little bit of a commute, but nonetheless, what this city does, and for you guys on the council, the support that we get as a fire department is far beyond. When I talk to my partners that work in other city contracts, they're highly envious of the great support that we get here in the city as a fire department. So we know that comes from the citizens, that comes from the Board of Supervisors, the mayor, and everybody here. So I just want to thank everybody for that support, because we can't do our job without the equipment and the tools and the support from the city. So thank you very much.
Thanks, man.
I felt you blink. 1, 2, and 3. Wonderful.
That was where I initially started as a volunteer in 2002. I graduated in 1990.
Oh, I'm 93. Oh, you're in the same house as I was. I had that dip. Hey.
So much.
Good evening once again, and congratulations once again to Captain for the Firefighter of the Year, and thank you for all of your service as well to our community. You have a long commute from Arizona. I don't know how you do it, but you serve here in Moreno Valley, so we appreciate you. And for our third and final special presentation of this evening, we gather here tonight and are reminded of the richness of our community, as we have seen in the past two presentations, that we're a tapestry woven from diverse threads of culture, faith, and purpose. While each presentation tonight focused on distinct topics, from honoring our brave firefighters to raising awareness about water safety, they all reflect one common thread, and that's our collective commitment to the well-being and prosperity of Moreno Valley. In celebrating our differences, we find strength in unity, and in embracing our diverse perspectives, we build a stronger and more resilient community together. At this point, I would like to invite the faith leaders that we have here with us this evening. I know we have various pastors and clergy members. If you would like to go ahead and join us at the mic as we give them a big Moreno Valley round of applause. Please, please. Good to see you.
Have you come up this way? Come up this way.
How are you?
Mr. Rivera?
Good to see you. How are you? Good to see you. How are you? Welcome.
Right here.
Welcome, welcome. Good to see you. Hi, how are you?
Right here, sir.
Welcome, welcome. How are you? How you doing? Good to see you. Good to see you. Welcome, welcome.
Sir,
How are you?
come around. Ready?
Welcome in. There's plenty of room for everybody. Good to see you. How are you, sir? Hey, how are you? Good to see you. How are you, sir? Good to see you. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you. Okay. I wasn't expecting such a big crowd, but I'm so glad that we're all here, well represented from across the city of Moreno Valley. So thank you all for being here with us this evening. And, you know, the City Council, as I just mentioned, honors our diversity and our shared humanity by issuing this proclamation that I'll read in just a moment for recognition of National Month of Prayer in the city of Moreno Valley. And I just want to share briefly before I do read some of the language on the proclamation that, as I mentioned, you know, we throw those words out about, you know, diversity and recognizing various cultures and faiths and walks of faith. And that certainly is what the city of Moreno Valley does. That's where we're able to unify and come together, especially in those moments of crisis and turmoil and trial and tribulation, where it seems like we may not be able to get out of a certain situation. But we all rally together, we put our egos aside, we put our differences aside, and we do it for the people. We do it as a collective, we do it as a whole, as a community and as a city of Moreno Valley. So I do want to read some of the language that is on the proclamation, and that reads, "The city of Moreno Valley acknowledges a diverse religious landscape within our community, recognizing that individuals from various faith traditions find solace and strength in their respective practices, and affirming our commitment to fostering an inclusive and tolerant society. Whereas, amidst the challenges and uncertainties faced by our city and nation, the act of prayer serves as a unifying force, fostering compassion, empathy, and a shared sense of responsibility towards the well-being of all our residents, reminding us of our interconnectedness and our interdependence. And whereas the city of Moreno Valley respects and embraces the freedom of our residents, that they have to practice their religion in a free and safe environment, valuing the rich tapestry of beliefs that contribute to the cultural fabric of our community. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the City Council of the City of Moreno Valley, on behalf of our citizens and staff, hereby recognizes the month of June as the month of prayer, affirming our commitment to fostering a community of compassion, understanding, and unity. And here to share a few words, I know we have a big crowd here, so I don't know if we have enough minutes on the clock to share the mic with everyone, but I would like to just invite Pastor David Rivera from Oasis Church here in Moreno Valley, if you would kindly share a few words on behalf of everyone represented here this evening.
Well, good evening, everyone. It's a dangerous thing to give a pastor a microphone, okay? But my words will be short. I appreciate what the City Council has done in recognizing this month. And just last week, we had a great event that the City Council helped us with. We got the word out, and various churches from throughout the whole city, different pastors got together for a night of worship and a night of prayer. And it was just amazing to see all the different churches and beliefs coming together in unity, just reinforcing the fact that we love God and that we love each other and that we know our need for God. And we can put all those other differences aside, but come together under that umbrella and just, have a great time in fellowship. So we're looking forward to continuing to do more of that fostering work, getting more involved in the community, being able to encourage others to get involved for the good of our community and for our citizens, and seeing what God wants to do here in Moreno Valley. So, Mayor, thank you very much. City Council, thank you very much for your support, and the city staff as well. Thank you for your support in this matter.
We'll make this work.
Get council on the side, then you just hand that to her.
See, they know who's good.
Can't you have somebody you choose which spots? That would help me out. Oh, yeah. And you right there on the second row, if you could, actually, perfect, you moved, that was perfect. All right. Looks good, everyone? All right. We do 1, 2, and 3. All right, looks good.
Yeah, good to see you too.
Pastor Mark's at a conference, so.
In Ontario? Yeah.
You gotta go.
We spoke yesterday briefly.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
right.
Good to see you, sir. Thank you. Thank you. Always a pleasure. Thank you for being here. Thank you so much. Good to see you. Good to see you. Take care, y'all. Have a good night. Thank you. Thank you, Mayor. Thank you so much. Good to see you. All right. Thank you. Always good to see you. Absolutely. Pleasure. Good to see you, sir. Thank you for being here. Thank you. Okay, absolutely. Thank you. And at this time, we'll go ahead and conclude our special presentations for this evening, and we'll be back in just a few minutes for our regular City Council meeting. Thank you. Good evening and welcome to the City of Moreno Valley City Council meeting. Welcome back to the council chamber. Today's date is May 7th, 2024, and welcome to the joint meeting of the City Council of the City of Moreno Valley Community Services District, City as successor agency for the Community Redevelopment Agency of the City of Moreno Valley Housing Authority, Moreno Valley Public Financing Authority, the Board of Library Trustees, and the Moreno Valley Community Foundation Board of Directors. The City Council receives a separate stipend for CSD meetings. This meeting is a continuation of the adjourned regular meeting of April 16th, 2024 at 6 p.m., in addition to the regular meeting of May 7th, 2024 at 6 p.m., which is today. I now call this meeting to order on May 7th, 2024 at 6:14 p.m. At this time, I would like to invite Councilmember Delgado to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, and I ask that you please remain standing after the pledge for the invocation given today by Pastor Arturo Linares with Iglesia Rios de Agua Viva.
Please join me by placing your right hand over your heart. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God.
Welcome, Pastor.
Thank you for this opportunity and pray for this meeting. I want to do in Spanish. Thank you. Señor Jesucristo, te doy gracias por la oportunidad que nos das de estar en esta junta. Bendice, da dirección a todos nuestros dirigentes, a todas las personas que estamos aquí. Te damos gracias en el nombre de Jesús. Amén. Amén.
Thank you. Thank you, Pastor. Muchas gracias. That brings us next to roll call. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Thank you, Mayor. Councilmember Baca, Santa Cruz.
Here.
Councilmember Delgado.
Here, ma'am.
Mayor Pro Tem Bernard.
Here.
And Mayor Cabrera.
Here. Thank you, Madam Clerk. And seeing as we're all present, we'll move past item E. And that brings us to item F, which is staff introductions, please.
Jane Halstead, City Clerk.
Patty Rodriguez, Senior Deputy City Clerk.
Steve Quintanilla, City Attorney.
Mike Lee, City Manager.
Brian Mohan, Assistant City Manager, Administration.
Robert Flores, Planning Official.
Lonnie Jimenez, Chief Financial Officer, City Treasurer.
Melissa Walker, Director of Public Works.
Patty E. Wheat, PCS Admin and Financial Services Division Manager.
Robert Cardenas, Human Resources Director. Cruz Esparza, Director, Economic Development and Housing Department.
Tim Browse for Captain Ken Reichel, Chief of Police.
And Jesse Park, Fire Chief.
Thank you very much, staff. It's always a pleasure to be here in the chamber with you. That brings us next to item G, which is approval of order of the agenda. Unless there are any questions or comments, I'll entertain a motion to approve the order of the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Right. Motion by Councilmember Delgado, a second by Councilmember Baca Santa Cruz. Please vote. And can we have a voice vote, please?
Yes, sir. Councilmember Baca Santa Cruz.
Yes.
Councilmember Delgado.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Bernard.
Yes.
And Mayor Cabrera.
Yes. And that passes unanimously. And brings us next to item H, which is public comments on matters that are not on the agenda. And please be advised that the city is currently offering Spanish translation services. If anyone is interested in these services, please let the city clerk know. La ciudad actualmente ofrece servicios de traducción al español. Si alguien está interesado, por favor nos avisan. Now, I would like to move on to public comments. I want to remind everyone to direct their comments to the City Council. For comments on items on tonight's agenda, each speaker will have a total of 3 minutes to comment. Madam Clerk, are there any requests to speak on non-agenda items?
Yes, there are, Mayor. I'll call the first three to speak. Brad Anderson, Sonny Williams, and Seth Cox.
Good afternoon, Brad Anderson. I currently live in the city of Rancho Mirage. I drove over for your meeting just because I wanted to speak and give some insight on your vacancy that you had on your council here. And we share the same city attorney, believe it or not. So this is unique. I just wanted to introduce myself, and I know the Riverside County Transportation Commission meetings tomorrow, and it's going to be in the desert. So I'll be at that too, and hopefully I'll see your representative. Thank you.
The next speaker is Sonny Williams, followed by Seth Cox and Ronald McCullough.
Good evening. How you doing? Okay, so my name is Sonny Williams. I'm here. First of all, the pleasant part is that I went to the Senior Citizen Center last Wednesday, and I had a really great time. Whatever you guys did over there, it looks beautiful. I always was reluctant to go because I'm not old, you know. But I am old, really, so I started going. I'm going again tomorrow, so I really enjoyed that, okay? I was compelled to come here because I'm from Sunny Mead Ranch, and I'm one of the leaders of the Concerned Citizens for Sunny Mead Ranch, a group of whistleblowers that are trying to fight corruption and everything in the ranch. So I took a documented report. It wasn't handwritten by me. It was documents of everything that's been going on there. And money missing, over $1 million missing. And I previously turned it into the Riverside Attorney General, and they said send it to the police department first. So I finally went by there a couple of weeks ago, and they seen everything in there about the money missing, and they told me, I'm gonna say it again, they told me to go to each individual's bank account, look in there, and see if they were spending the money out of their own bank account that was stolen from the ranch. And how am I gonna go to the bank and look at your bank account and yours and yours? I don't know why they told me that. I'm gonna try it again this week to go over there again. I called the Attorney General, and they said they're just trying to get out of doing their job because that's not your job to look up people's bank accounts. That's even illegal, you know? So, and if you think Dalton is bad, it's worse, well, not worse, it's almost as bad as it is at Sunny Mead Ranch. And I have had death threats. I've been just harassed constantly, completely. I'm also 100% disabled, and they won't even let me go into the ranch. And that's illegal, and it's just really bad there. It's not all about me. But anyway, I would like somebody to give the police department a heads up that Sonny is coming down there again. I still have the account number, or the number that they used last time. And give me a little bit of help. That's all, a little bit of help. All they gotta do is approve it, and I think it goes to the Riverside Attorney General. I think that's what it does. Let me see. Yeah, and one thing they have. I got 20 seconds here. They have fines that scare people. They have fines starting $350 a day up to $5,000 a day. I kid you not. And they got somebody driving around in trucks giving out fines, over 300 people per month. That's how bad it is there. So people are scared to say anything. The elections.
Thank you.
The next three speakers are Seth Cox, Ronald McCullough, and David Nielsen.
Good evening. I'm Seth Cox. Y'all know me. I live out in District 3, which we don't have a representative right now, but we all know that. That's coming up later. My pet peeve, what do you think it is? Stater Brothers cleanup. My handler's not here. Sean, he's been keeping me up to date of what's going on. I know the politics, I know the legal stuff, but it's been 4.5 months since it happened. Okay, the little birdie, Brian, whispered in my ear before I came up here, so some of my questions have been answered. But as council members, since we don't have District 3, I want all of you to speak for District 3. It needs to be cleaned up, okay? At one point, it was just, you know, dirty and water runoff, and I was assured there's no chemicals in it. But now it's blight, it's an eyesore, it's a safety hazard. We go up there every week because we use a dog groomer that's in the area, and people are always plundering through the burned out building. The fence was down for over 3 or 4 days. I don't know, we don't check it that often, but clean it up. Please clean it up. Thank you.
The next three speakers are Ronald McCullough, David Nielsen, and Benjamin Schuler.
How you guys doing? First, I would like to say my name is Ronald McCullough, and I'm a youth advocate, and I represent Guiding Light Home for Boys. I would like to thank you, Ms. Bernard, for responding to my email. I asked you about spring break activities, and you sent me a lot of them, so I really appreciate you for sending that email back to me at a timely manner. What really bothers me is that I noticed that looking at the statistics, 90% of the foster kids, they end up in prison. I really just think that's just so ridiculous, you know, and 85% of them end up in homelessness. So I'm asking you guys to continue to work with me, continue to work with our company so we can find out these activities. Summertime's coming up. Usually when it's spring break or summertime and we have nothing to do for the boys, they tend to look for other things that are hard on even the police. You know, I'm tired of calling the police, you know, but the group of guys that I brought some of my little homies with me so they can see how things are done. You know, don't complain about what's going on in the city. Come to the city and talk to the mayor. I really appreciate you guys doing, but I really need your help with activities. We have 16 and 17-year-olds who I believe if they can have some type of job, some type of something that they can have so they can buy their own clothes. We do work on a budget, so sometimes I do believe that, and we have kids, these guys go to school every day. That's one thing I do give them credit for, and they're trying their best. So that's all I'm here for. Ms. Bernard, I will shoot you an email tonight. I really do appreciate you guys. But I just want to say that that's just ridiculous to me. And I'm not saying this with you guys. I don't know what's going on with the system, but I'm here to help. I'm driven. I love kids. I want to see them win. I don't want to see them go to prison. I've been to prison before. It's a failure, you know. It costs $136,000 annually per person to be in prison. It costs $16,000 to $20,000 to $25,000 for each kid to be at a foster home. So to me, it's kind of like a system. It's like a system to me. It's like a business. And I don't work at this job for a business. I don't even care about the money. Just being with them and just guiding them and showing them that there's different ways and different avenues that you can do versus stealing or robbing or trying to, you know, go back on the past, because they do have some heroic stories, and I do feel really bad for them, but I love them, and I know, and I believe in Reno Valley, because I'm from here too, and I know that we can make things, we can change that percentage from 90 to at least 85%. So thank you guys. Ms. Bernard, I will be contacting you. God bless you guys. Have a good day.
Thank you, sir. And I know staff jotted down some notes. We'll make sure to connect so we get you some more resources as well. Thank you.
The next three speakers are David Nielsen, Benjamin Schuler, and Joe Teague.
Good evening, Mayor Cabrera and City Council members. My name is David Nielsen. I'm the Operations Manager for the Hole in the Wall Incorporated Homeless Drop-In Center in Moreno Valley. I wanted to let you know, if you didn't know, we're having an event this Saturday. It's Homeless Awareness Day 2, and it starts at 11 a.m., goes to 4 p.m. We're bringing together 5 outreach teams, 24187 Postal, True Evolution, who are going to do HIV testing on site. We have Building Up Lives, England Compassion, Salvation Army will be there, as well as Riverside University Health System Behavioral Health Crisis Support System of Care. We're going to be giving out a lot of things to the homeless population. I'm really excited because we have Cal State University San Bernardino School of Social Work. Ian, you want to stand up with your with your team. And these are a group of students that are going to be there, and they're going to be assisting us, and they're going to get some on-the-job training, which is just wonderful. I also just wanted to speak briefly. You know, we want to thank you again for the pilot grant, and just to let you know, in the first 2 months of the second quarter, we've seen a 31% increase in clientele, units of service across the board. As a matter of fact, just in the last 2 months, we have 64 new clients, bringing the total from the inception of the pilot grant to 107 new clients. We've given out 229 lunches. We've given out 46 ID vouchers, 56 bus passes, 72 hygiene packs, and a total of a complete total of over 1,400 units of service. So we're grateful, and we hope to continue to honor that grant. And we hope that anybody here, we're going to send you this via email. We hope that any and all of you would come to the event Saturday, 24187 Postal. Thank you.
The next three speakers are Benjamin Schuler, Joe Teague, and Christopher Baca.
Is the Hathaway coming up?
Mr. Schuler, Mr. Benjamin Schuler. Okay.
Put him at the end.
Yeah, Mr. Teague.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Joe Teague. I'm constantly being broken into. I feel as though our police protection is right at zero. It's really terrible. I've left messages for one officer to call me back. I haven't had any return calls. And today I went to my home and my kitchen door was all broken into. The jamb was all broken up. I have no way of securing my house tonight. We can't sleep good. And the police has had a lot of opportunities to trace people down on this stuff. I have some brass goods that was left in a barrel. I hope that they can come and at least look at them. And I would urge the city council to pass an ordinance against camping, and especially in that flood control channel. They are a danger. Those people are nothing but thieves. A lot of them are crazy as a loon, and we need to do something about it. You need to pass an ordinance against camping. And when you're called up to the police department, they should respond. I called up, one showed up the other day, and here's this homeless guy with his tent pitched. I mean, debris all over, human waste. They use the canal for urinating or pooping in, and he lets the guy go start free. Of course, he comes back later on that night. They're right back there again, and they're there again. And you people could use, the police force could use their helicopter also to locate these homeless in the flood control. I'd appreciate Tim giving me a call and getting things straightened where we can sleep at night in peace. I carry my shotgun a lot of times with me, and I'm not afraid to use it. So I'm letting everybody know that I can't take it anymore. I will shoot on sight a burglar the next time I catch him. He has really ruined me and my daughter's life. I thank you, people. Thank you.
The next three speakers are Christopher Baca, Ian Palomo, and Julie Pedrosa.
Good evening, staff, council, community. I'm here on behalf of myself. My comments are my own personal views and comments. I wanted to follow up on what Mr. Teague was talking about, thieves and crazies, and I just wanted to point out and follow up on some of the corrupt nonprofits that we have in Moreno Valley. I had a conversation with our attorney regarding Building Up Life's Foundation and all their fraudulent work that they're doing in the city and all the corruption that Julie, I don't know what she's going through. She's going through Pedrosa now. I mean, who knows how many names she's used, how many men she's married for their benefits. But anyhow, I asked the attorney to look into, her corrupt processes and her filings, and why is the city giving these nonprofits money that are not in compliant and corrupt? And my point being that she used my names to file her initial incorporation. She used my name for a GoFundMe without my permission and received money. She's done that for many people. She has all kinds of GoFundMe accounts that she uses. She is so corrupt, it's beyond comprehension. I helped her with the RV that she got for the homeless, and volunteers fixed it up, and there was a woman with 5 children, and she was willing to give her $5,000, and she refused to sell it to her because she had an offer for $7,000 for a person that wanted to go cross country. That's only one example of the kind of crap that she does. And she's up here, she got some nerve complaining about Salvation Army. All she's trying to do is get their grant. That's all she's trying to do, just to pocket herself and enrich herself. I mean, she's so corrupt. Look into the COVID money, all the COVID money she got. She was supposed to be working, but according to her filing, she got $2 million. That she had a bank account. She was running a bank account. Then she has her corrupt Mr. Pedro, whatever his name is, Pedrosa. He's just as corrupt. He's an ex-highway patrol officer, and he concocted a lie that I assaulted him to have me arrested. And he works for the not the district attorney, but the county, I forgot what it's called, that special investigative unit. That's corruption right up the alley in our own backyard by this person. That's sad. And I asked the city attorney to look into this, and the city is still giving them money. So I asked the city to ask her to return that money. Thank you.
The next 3 speakers are Ian Palomo, Julie Pedrosa, and Brian Sparrow.
Hello, Mayor and City Council. My name is Ian Palomo. I am a student at Cal State San Bernardino, and I'm part of the School of Social Work. I'm here with my group. We are fulfilling a requirement in a group project for our finals. We are finishing up our junior year, and part of the project was to do a community outreach, and we chose Moreno Valley as our community. I'm actually a resident here, and we surveyed the city for needs assessment. And some of the people in the needs assessment talked about lack of jobs and homelessness. And during my part, I ran into David Nielsen at A Hole in the Wall Incorporated. Where speaking with him was very inspirational to work with him, and he's been grateful to have us for the health fair for the homeless this Saturday. So our group was raised money to donate clothing, hygiene products, and food. And I'd like to just back what David said and encourage some of you to come out and mingle with us students who might be working with some of you later in the future and here in the county, and maybe mentor some of us, give us words of advice, and talk to some of the homeless or people in need who will be there. That's it. Thank you.
The next 2 speakers are Julie Pedrosa and Brian Sparrow.
Good evening. Julianne Pedrosa, Building Up Lives Foundation. Well, isn't today entertaining? Anytime anyone in city wants to come and talk to me about anything, I have no problem. Open book here, anytime. 951-550-5466 at any time. So I wanted to do a little update we were a little slow on April because we were doing a lot of behind the scenes stuff. When we moved out of Sunnymead, we placed stuff in storage. We need to condense that and get that stuff out. And so we end up doing that. That's laboring, very laboring. So during the month of April, we did 3 suicide prevention, 1 family law, emotional support case, domestic violence. 3 men received help with grief of a lost loved one, 2 child sexual abuse cases after the abuse case, 18 homeless help with housing. On average, 26 families a week get free food from our Place food booth. It's Our Place restaurant. Moved out 1 storage, sorted out another storage. Multiple doctor's appointments for homeless youth in extreme cases, suicide or mental health. Sometimes they can't get there, they need help. So that was 1 case this month. 1 homeless youth is heading to prom. You know, you can guess who that is, right? Good old, little Philip here. 2 days of free clothing out to the community. It's a trailer, 16 feet. We had 2 of those out of household needs and clothing, various services for youth. Our youth did Operation Give, where we gave out free cookies to fast food workers. We worked on future events, which is auction, and we're trying to put the kids into programs this month. There's a couple nonprofits that are introducing themselves today that deal with Youth Fathers Alliance and Handy Blessed Hands. He'll be up here. I think I'm saying that out backwards. But anyways, let's see. We connected 82 lives with resources. We actually donated coconut oil to Jamaica, believe it or not. They use it for cooking. We had 5 community service volunteers. We partnered with different board and cares for rooms for our homeless. 4 females received help with prior abuse. We have a pay it forward program for hot meals at our place. And so 3 homeless received hot meals there. And we did 3 restraining orders, 2 food pickups that went out to the community, 1 out-of-state help, and 3 animals were rescued. So it was a slow month as we did a lot of behind the scenes, but I just wanted to update.
The next 3 speakers are Ryan Sparrow, Bob Palomares, and Pete Bleckard.
Let's be respectful, folks, if you could, please. Go ahead, sir.
How you doing? My name is Brian Sparrow. Glad to be here. I'm the owner of Handy Blessed Hands, LLC, and I'm also the owner of Handy Blessed Hands Community Development Corporation, which I do for the past 3 years out of my own pocket. I take kids from the age of 13, males, all the way up to 18. I started this in my garage. I've been teaching them handyman skills. I pay them while they learn. I feed them. If their grades is bad, I pay them for incentives to pick their grades up. I provide tutoring for these kids, and I also teach the word to them. We also go out and have outings as far as Mastro's, Fleming's. As some of you may know, these are expensive restaurants. You might ask, well, how do they pay for this? I teach them how to borrow money from themselves and pay their self-entrance. I took 28 kids to Mastro's in a limo. I paid for the limo. There, the boys were able to learn proper etiquette, how to treat women, how to pull seats out, the difference between steaks. Again, a lot of them were felon. I have now 6 people that joined the military. 2 were felon. They have gotten scholarships to run track, went to RCC. The reason why I'm here is because I need help. My nonprofit, I just got the paperwork that I needed from IRS, and it's been hard on my family, but I just keep pushing because I'm loving what I'm doing for the community, and these kids don't want to leave. So what I end up doing is letting the kids stay to help me teach the other kids. The kids that have turned 18 didn't know what they want to do in life. I then hired them on to my company. The kids learn demolition, they learn junk hauling, they learn plumbing. The older ones learn a little bit of electrical. I teach them just all around, and I've been doing this for 3 years out of my own income. Thank God for my wife, because during COVID, we invested into a daycare, which she has a daycare to hold the household down. But when she has lost some kids, our finances went down, so I'm asking for help because I am known all through Moreno Valley. I also received a Fatherless to the Father award from Moreno Valley, the mayor. So I'm asking for help because I can't do it by myself, and I've been doing it by myself for the last 3 years. Again, my name is Brian Sparrow, and I'm in this city.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
The next three speakers are Bob Palomares, Pete Bleckard, and Benjamin Schuler.
Good evening, Council. First of all, I always like to salute our first responders. Zoom. I know we've missed a study session and a council meeting. Why don't we use Zoom? I mean, before we used it when the mayor was not here, we Zoomed in and everything was good, you know. I mean, I think that's something we should look into. What I wanted to talk about was K3, the appointment, or that's a bad idea.
Yeah, we're on non-agenda public comments at the moment. For K3, we'll have public comment for that as well.
No, I can speak on that. A council person doesn't only represent his district, but he also represents the entire city. And we got, what, 200 and, let's say, 15,000 residents, and yet you're going to appoint somebody to a district where probably not even 1% of the district would know who's going to represent them. I think we need to have the election, because the election will make them earn it. They'll knock on doors and they'll go for it. You know, you appoint somebody, because sometimes when there's a recommended appointment, you know, there's an agenda, or there's maybe some kind of, you know, hey, why don't you run for it? You know, you can, like the prior district councilman, all he was a rubber stamper. That district has not had any representation for years. I mean, he was starting to show up to all the council meetings because he was under the gun, under the microscope. So we need to do the right thing and let the people choose their representative. This way we'll know what they have to offer. You know, because if you appoint somebody, you know, it's going to look a little fishy. I say let the people that are going to run, let them run and knock on doors. You know, that's what I'm for. I don't think we should go that way and appoint somebody, because it don't look good. You know, it might be favoritism, or, you know, because you represent, I mean, you ran, Councilman Delgado, Baca Santa Cruz, you ran, you know, you weren't appointed. Let the district representatives run. Let the people that want to get in there, don't appoint them. It's bad. Thank you.
The next.
Madam Clerk, if you could give me just a moment, just for clarification, and I know there's a lot of new folks in the public here attending the meeting. Traditionally, or by our own rules, we, for non-agenda public comments, it's an opportunity for members of the public to give their comments on any items that are not on the agenda. So I'm gonna let that pass for today, but for next time, if you could please keep your comments. If you're gonna speak on something that's on the agenda, there's specific opportunity to speak on that item. So I'm gonna let that pass this time, but next time, please, just wanna make sure that everybody's aware of that, I will not let that happen next time. Thank you.
Next two speakers are Pete Bleckard and Ben Schuler.
Yeah, I would ask you if you would close the meeting tonight
in honor of Patty Goodwin, which was the first council person, one of the couple that got voted in after the ridiculous recall we had with all the crap that was going on a little over a year ago, 1 year after the city got done. And we ain't got no smarter since then. We still got the same problems of everybody hating everybody up there. So, and I go along with it because when Ray Tanner got elected to the city council, I was in grade school when he was here. So, and everybody didn't like my attitude, and he didn't either, because I used to meet him at the Board of Education a few times during my time there and got educated. Other than that, it was a lot of fun, but I've been here longer than the city's been the city, and I'd like to see you do that. Getting back to the second thing about it is, the hate that went on that recall was so bad that when Ray Tanner got elected, he appointed me to the Planning Commission. And because he did that, 4 of them on the city council, when I came up to be reappointed, I was only on for a year, a little over 2 years and some months. And because they had such a hate for Ray Tanner and me, all the people since, it took 2 city council people to get a vote to get an interview. I'm the only one who could only get 1 vote from Patty Goodwin. The other 4 hated me that bad. So I want to be the first to say I was the first planning commissioner that went to grade school here, first one that got fired by you people, and the hate ain't stopped yet. I can see that with God sitting up there, he hates my ass to the max. So let's get that right out. So, because I remember when he was over there at Ito's place over there, before he ever got elected, everything, going around holding his hands up like, I pray for the city and I do this, and kissing everybody's butt. And then as soon as he got elected, he told me to go to hell, which is fine. I go along with that. So, you know, the hate in this town has been from day one and ain't got no better. There's no downtown here. There's nothing. You got little Mickey Mouse places around here to do anything. But anybody wants to know any history about it, I can tell you. I was here from grade school to high school, and I just went to my 64th graduation from Poly High, which is now RCC. And it was so good, when we went to school, the kids are crying because they got to get up in the morning. We went to school, we had 2 sessions. There were 1,300 kids in first class and the second one. You had to be in school at 6:45, you got out at 11, the other one's coming at 11:30 and went to about 3:30, I guess. I was never in that class. So these kids and everything whining, remember, they should have been here back in the old days.
The final speaker is Benjamin Schuler.
And, Mayor and City Council members, as you know, my name is Benjamin Schuler, and I am the founder of the Hole in the Wall, Inc. And I just wanted to give the city an update on what we're getting ready to do this coming weekend. We're going to have the Homeless Awareness Day 2 this Saturday at 24187 Postal. We're going to be providing to the homeless because that's our deal. We work with the homeless. We work hands-on, in the trenches, on site. You move them one location, we service them. That's what they do. They come to us for free mail service. They come to us for food, clothing, and we provide shelter, and we're doing on-site intakes with them to try to get them off the street. So this weekend, we're doing free haircuts on site. We're also including, we got a volunteer medical team coming through to do HIV testing. We're also going to be provide a hot meal. It's a 5-hour event. We're hoping to get someone from the city to come by and support our event. We having some different vendors coming in. Nothing's going to be sold. Everything is free for the homeless. We want to let the homeless know that this city, regardless of what the challenges are, do care to help them get off the street. Now, we can never get rid of the problem. We can only make a dent with the problem. And our organization is determined to help this city provide the necessary services for the homeless population. We don't want them in our community, but we have that problem. So my organization, as the founder, Benjamin Schuler, as you heard from David Nielsen, he's our operations manager. We're preparing to provide these services this weekend. We are partnering with other nonprofits, including Building Up Lives Foundation. We got USC School volunteers coming out to help us. We're also partnering with True Evolution to provide the necessary HIV testing for those that are on the street and being housing needs challenged. So I just wanted to keep the city updated on what we're doing on Postal, and we're still in the fight to make a difference. Last but not least, hoping that we can get together with other nonprofits so we can open up some type of something for the homeless that we have in our city. They're not moving out. All they're going is from.
Thank you, sir.
The final speaker is Luis Palomares.
Luis Palomares, community activist. I wasn't going to say a whole lot today, but I guess you gave me an ammo again, Ulysses Cabrera. How dare you tell a speaker that they got to wait till the item comes up on the agenda? I believe you know better than that. I mean, you interrupted Bob the last time, and now you're doing it again. And you're informing the public that you got to do it your way or the highway. And earlier, Pete called you God. He was talking about you. He didn't say your name, but he's talking about you because you run the city like a dictatorship. It's sad, but it's true. You lobby all your people to come over here for your agenda, what you want. And you know, hey, there might be some needs, but come on. I can't believe what I'm hearing here today. You want to stifle our speech? Non-agenda, we can talk about anything we want. Anything we want. Wow. You don't cease to amaze me. You really, really don't. You know, you don't have Dave here no more, so wow. Here we go. Let's see what happens now. You want to do an appointment probably, like you did with Baca, that appointment, and you got in trouble violating the Brown Act at that time, and they said, fix it or else. And Ed ran for his seat twice because the election came up in November again. Elena Baca Santa Cruz run for her seat, so I believe that there should be an election, and maybe we should wait till the November. But I believe you already got your boy in mind because we already know who you are, Cabrera. Can you please look at it? Look. I mean, what's the problem here? Man up, please. Man up. And then the hypocrisy, the pastors are all here. Great. My hat's off to them. I honor them. But you'll use everybody just like you used the Catholic Church when you didn't want the win-win donuts over there. But you were there for the grand opening and the ribbon cutting. The hypocrisy, when does it stop with you? As far as the summer thing, last time you got these people to lobby for a pool. You know we didn't have no pools to give them swimming lessons, but you brought them out here and say, couldn't we just give them $10,000 anyway? You know, you get these people and you promise them this and that. And you say, keep on coming, we'll get it sooner or later. We'll get it sooner or later. Shame on you. Shame on you. Like I said, it doesn't cease to amaze me. Okay, a hole in the wall. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for what you do in the community. As far as, I'll say it again, a lot of money we let go by on the Hillwood project, 30 million plus everything else. 30 million. We could have been doing a lot of this stuff with this money. A lot of stuff. Shame on you. It's all about you, Ulysses. Your agenda and what you want. Grow up, please. Do the right thing for the city. Not for you.
We have one last speaker, Roy Bleckard.
Other 250 plus voters.
Please, Ms. Palomares, let's keep it respectful.
One of the gentlemen said, how good is it to talk to the mayor or the council or any of our government? I don't know how good that works out. I've been doing that for parts of 7 decades. And it's been a very interesting experience. One of the gentlemen came up here and mentioned about the foster youth and how they're on the track to get to prison. Mentioned it many times, but you can tell in your community where and how and what the prison population is, and I bet you Mr. Delgado will know this, by the third grade math and reading ability in your community. We don't check that. We don't talk about that. That has a profound effect on everything that everyone has brought up here today. Sheriff of Merced County, Warnake, just issued a statement saying how he doesn't have cops because they're leaving, how his jails are not staffed because people are leaving because of the conditions. We have the homeless. Did you see the picture of the nice 12 shopping carts on Postal Avenue I posted? You heard about that. You heard about the conditions. You hear about them in every aspect of life, from everyone in every part and every aspect of every community, everywhere. We just don't seem to be able to get along or sit down at the table and actually talk to each other and work these things out. You guys could start. You guys could lead. You guys could run and do and put your rules and procedures and show how you can be better than everyone else. No, we have to go to the lowest common denominator. Many times. It's puzzling, distressing a lot to me how, and you heard a lot of the people come up in here, how we can entrust a lot of our institutions that waste billions and trillions of dollars, but we don't take advantage of the talent in our community. We shove them to the side. We do it at our peril. We're a reflection of this whole community. Good, bad, and ugly. We all got to look in the mirror on this.
That concludes public comment, Mayor.
Thank you very much, Madam Clerk, and thank you to all of our public speakers for coming out today. That will conclude public comments on non-agenda items, and we'll go ahead and now move into item I, which is joint consent calendars. Before I open the consent calendar for public comment, I ask my fellow council members if there are any items that they wish to remove from the consent calendar for separate action or discussion. And I don't see any at the moment, so with that, we'll go ahead and move into public comment on consent calendar items only. Madam Clerk, do we have any requests to speak on the consent calendar?
We have one, Tina Escano.
Good evening.
I need to just make an appointment to ask my questions because it's going to take me a lot more than 3 minutes then to speak on them. But I know you can't comment on any of them. I'll go ahead and say my first question was the 23-24 drownings for the year was not mentioned, and I was wondering if you have totals on those. And then the month of prayer, water safety awareness, firefighter of the year, are those all yearly awards? I didn't know if they were yearly or not. It did say of the year, so I assumed that they were. And council travel for February 20th for Delgado and Marquez. I wanted to know where, when, why, how much. I'm sorry, I just have lots and lots of questions on the agenda, and I don't know who to direct those to. When I had questions on the budget, I spoke with Brian, but I don't know who to speak to as far as these agenda questions. I know you can't comment on them in public hearing, but I have multiple. Looking at this, I mean, I probably have 50 questions.
If you'd like, we can get your contact information to make sure that we get you some responses to those so that we get you connected to the right person. Yeah, we just, during public comment, we don't,
dollars on another project for 89 trash receptacles, and that makes it $23.45 per receptacle per park. That seems a little bit outrageous to me. $2,000 for a trash receptacle in a park? I'm sorry. That's crazy to me. I don't understand. Pump track, $1.6 million adjustment, $876,000 more. I don't know. Can you elaborate on those things? That's just crazy to me. World Logistics Center, LAFCO, money being spent. I didn't even know what LAFCO was. I had to go online and find out it was the World Logistics Center money. Why are you using that for the CSD in the Park District? Wasn't that money funded for the World Logistics Center? Just questions I have. Annexation of territory. Looked like there were 11 Hispanic families, 1 Asian, 1 actual lot. Why are these being annexed? Lions Security Systems of Anaheim. Why not Moreno Valley? Cal Fire, Owens Valley.
thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
That concludes public comment, Mayor.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. So we'll go ahead and conclude public comment for the consent calendar, and we'll go ahead and turn back to the dais. And at this time, I entertain a motion to approve the consent items.
So moved.
I'll second.
Okay, there's a motion and a second on the floor. Please vote. And that motion carries unanimously.
I'll go ahead and do a voice vote.
Thank you.
Councilmember Baca Santa Cruz,
Yes.
Councilmember Delgado,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Bernard,
Yes.
and Mayor Cabrera.
Yes. Thank you, Madam Clerk. That brings us to the next item on our agenda, which is J, public hearings. We have a few of these on the agenda today. And questions or comments from the public on a public hearing matter are limited to 3 minutes per speaker and must pertain to the subject matter under consideration. Those wishing to testify are encouraged to complete and submit a goldenrod speaker slip to the city clerk staff. J1 is an ordinance revising temporary sign regulations set forth in Title 9 of the Moreno Valley Municipal Code, and we have a report from our city attorney.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So one of the most challenging tasks for planners and city attorneys is drafting sign regulations because there are a number of conflicting opinions coming out of various courts, both at the federal and state level. But in a nutshell, every sign regulation that's adopted has to be based on the time in which the sign can be put up or taken down, the location of the sign, which we call place regulations, and the manner in which the signs are made of, or how they're made of. And so with all that in mind, I've met with the staff here, and we've come up with these particular regulations that are all, that we believe are either time, place, or manner regulations. And so without getting into the details of all these complex legal opinions, I just want to go through these sign regulations and that are basically going to be applied to all of our temporary signs, which incidentally includes our political campaign signs. So here are the regulations that are set forth in this proposed ordinance. So temporary signs shall not be placed beyond 90 days prior to an election. They shall be removed within 10 days after an election. They cannot exceed 32 square feet. They can't exceed 6 feet in height. They cannot be artificially lit. They have to have the permission of the property owner in order to place it on any property. They may not be placed or maintained on any public-owned building, structures, tree, or shrub, or on any portion of a public street or highway right-of-way that's used for traffic or parking. They may not be erected or placed in any situation that's going to deface or disfigure any public building, structure, or property, or that endangers the safety of persons or property, or obscures the view of any fire hydrant, traffic sign, traffic signal, street sign, or public informational sign, or blocks the lines of sight to areas of vehicular or pedestrian traffic. Temporary signs shall also not be permitted on any medium separating opposite vehicular traffic on any public streets or other public right-of-ways. These are basically both our landscaped and our hardscape center dividers. And plus, no sign shall be located on a lot that contains signs that have an aggregate surface area in excess of 80 square feet. Now, so if we do have a sign that's placed in violation of the ordinance, it will be removed by the city within 5 days after a notice of violation is issued. But if we have a sign that's placed in an area that poses an immediate danger to the safety of persons or properties, the city will summarily remove it without any notice. But if we do remove a sign, any of these temporary signs, we'll hold them for no longer than 30 days to allow the owner to come and retrieve them. Finally, if there were any illegal signs placed anywhere in the city may bill or bring an action to recover the cost of any sign removal by the city. So that's basically the rules that are going to apply to all of our temporary signs, which includes, as a subcategory, political campaign signs. If the council adopts this particular ordinance, I will work with the city clerk on providing sort of a cheat sheet to all of our candidates who are going to be running for political office this coming November. So that concludes my report on these temporary sign regulations that include political campaign signs.
Thank you very much, Mr. City Attorney. And that brings us next to any council questions of staff. Are there any questions from the dais? We have questions from Councilmember Delgado.
Hey, Steve, thank you for that. Just one real quick clarification. How big can the sign be? Did you say 80 square feet or 8 square feet?
32 square feet.
32, thank you.
That's a single sign.
Thank you.
Are there any further questions from the dais? And seeing none, we'll go ahead and move into the public hearing. At this time, I'll go ahead and open the public hearing. Madam Clerk, do we have any requests to speak on this item?
We have 2 requests to speak, Seth Cox and Chris Baca.
Hello again, Seth Cox, District 3. First of all, I will applaud the staff and everybody that worked on this documentation. Legal documentation is a pain in the butt, okay? I deal with it on a regular basis with contracts and different things. My only question is, we have all this on paper, okay? You spent hours and hours on this. I've been following it. It's gone through planning at least, twice. It's come to the council. This is like the second time. Hopefully we'll get it out there. My big question, who's going to enforce it, okay? I can drive out of my driveway, turn right or left, and identify illegal signs within a mile of my house. Either way, they've been there for months. They continue to be there. 32 square feet. Anybody knows what that equates to? A 4x8 sheet of plywood. There are plenty of signs out there that violate that, and nobody's enforcing it. I know you're supposed to file a notice that it's illegal. They know it's illegal when they put it up. Just get it down. Thank you.
Christopher Vaca.
Sorry about that. I think you should leave well enough alone. As far as any political signs are concerned, the FPC handles that as far as any complaints. And, if you got a complaint as far as any of the political signs are concerned, you make the complaint to them and they will address it to that campaign. Exactly what Mr. Zest Cox said, who's going to enforce this if we already have basic regulations and they're not really being enforced? I mean, I think, I'm sorry to criticize our great government here, but, they're not, it's unenforceable really. And I think it's unfortunate for some small businesses that maybe are, can't afford to, being out in the front, that, they need to put their signs out in the front so people know where their businesses are. That helps the city, that helps the small businesses. And I think it's over-regulation. I urge each one of you to vote this down, because as far as, the points are, who's going to enforce it, it's not going to get enforced. And it can be, when the political signs come up, we can have, a disgruntled, for instance, maybe in another city, a disgruntled candidate that is nitpicking at every, little thing. I mean, sometimes you can't put the sign 6 feet. It has to be a little above 6 feet. Sometimes people vandalize them, so you move them. And there's just a lot of variance there as far as the political signs are concerned. Let the agency that's in charge of the politics handle that. The city has, we don't need more regulations. We can't handle the regulations we have. It's not being enforced. The city has those. I believe they're citywide. They're sponsored by the city. The recycling things. They put their signs up. They put them up in private property. They put them up anywhere. They actually even deface our political signs. Some of the campaigns I helped, they're so arrogant, they tear them down because they believe they have their right to put their signs where, because it's a city-sponsored thing, they have their right to do, put their signs where they want. And no one's enforcing that. I've called many times and it falls on deaf ears. The same thing here, just like the man, Mr. Cox said, we got signs all over the place for yard sales, and at this point that are illegal, and the city's not doing anything. So I think it's a waste of time and it's a waste of resources, and it's just more regulation that's unnecessary. Thank you.
That concludes public testimony, Mayor.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. It looks like we might have one more for this item.
Luis Palomares.
Luis Palomares, community activist. As far as the signs, our council knows when they put up their signs when they're supposed to take them down. And it's only I'm only making a comment here as far as last year when our mayor, Ulysses Cabrera, ran, he put his signs up a couple of weeks prior. He knows he can't do that. Please don't do it this year on this campaign. That's all I'm saying. Don't put your political signs up early before everybody else puts theirs up. There's a date, and you know the date, and put them up then. That way you won't get criticized this year when you run again. And as far as I lost my train of thinking, but okay, thank you so much.
That concludes public testimony, Mayor.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. That brings us now to closing the public hearing and council deliberation if desired. Are there any council comments from the dais? All right, we have a couple hands raised. First up, Mayor Pro Tem Bernard.
I do have the same concerns that some of the residents did bring up, is enforcement of it. How is this going to be enforced? Are residents going to be able to phone it in? Are they going to use the app? What is the timeline? I know more than likely we'll notify whoever owns the sign, give them time to take it down. But I guess that is kind of the question that I do have, because we already have some ordinances regarding when signs can go up, especially because we know it's political season coming up. How is this going to be enforced?
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. As it's coming from an administration or program perspective, I'll go ahead and answer it as opposed to a legal response. So I would encourage, and we encourage our residents to use the City of Moreno Valley app that is available on their respective store to download, whether it be Apple and or Android, and report the location of these particular violation in incidents. Those go automatically to the department that is responsible for that violation and would be able to go ahead and respond accordingly. I know a lot of times residents actually call their council members, send emails to their council members, but really the app is the best way to report a violation. That would be our rollout, and our communication related to this would be in that particular manner.
All right, next up we have Councilmember Delgado.
Well, thank you very much for that, Steve. That was very, very informative. And more times than not, the reason that these are being brought up is because something occurred or something happened that prompted the city to bring this up or to revise or update our current sign regulations. So thank you for that. And I do see that it does need to be monitored, and I appreciate the comments that we definitely need to enforce them if we're going to have regulations out here. So thank you for that, and I just wanted to thank you for bringing this up and cleaning it up. Yep.
And next up, Councilmember Banca Santa Cruz.
Okay, so in the past, we had the political sign ordinance, and that allowed for political signs 90 days before an election. Because we took off the word politics in the sign ordinance, does this now allow more signs that are not related to an election, like stores or garage sales or those type of signs to be placed in that 90-day window? Are we going to have more signs like garage sales allowed? Everybody's allowed during just those 90 days?
Right now, this is basically a temporary fix for our political campaign sign regulations because we had problems, constitutional problems with our current sign regulations. So I anticipate, following the election, I will be meeting with staff to talk about our overall sign regulations. But basically, under the Supreme Court decisions, we have to treat political campaign signs the same way we treat all temporary signs. So I can't predict whether or not it's going to permit more.
But it does permit them, right?
Correct, correct.
Whether or not they actually put them up, any of these entities but it will allow all these signs now, right? Temporary signs during this 90 days only?
Correct.
Okay.
All right, and seeing no further council comments at this time, I will go ahead and entertain a motion to approve staff's recommendations. I'll move to approve. I'll second the motion. A motion by Mayor Pro Tem Bernard and a second by myself. Please vote.
Councilmember Baca Santa Cruz,
Yes.
Councilmember Delgado,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Bernard,
Yes.
and Mayor Cabrera.
Yes. That motion carries as well. That brings us next to item J2, which is a public hearing to review the CDBG home and ESG project selections for inclusion in fiscal year 24-25 annual action plan. And we have a report from Assistant City Manager Mohan.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem, council members. Very routine item. We do it every year. In essence, what this item before you does tonight, it's a public hearing to allow for a public review of the estimated HUD funding for this particular coming fiscal year, as well as the entity request or application information that was submitted. It is summarized in the staff report along with the draft of the one-year action plan. Basically shows how much we are estimated to receive in each of the categories, CDBG, ESG, home investment, as well as what entities applied for, and ask for, and the previous funding if applicable. Does not include any of staff recommendations at this point in how we will be allocating these monies. That will come about in the next public hearing in May 21st council meeting. So with that, I'm available for any questions.
Thank you very much, Brian. And with that, we'll go ahead and move to any council questions of staff. Seeing none, we'll go ahead and open the public hearing. Madam Clerk, do we have any requests to speak?
We have 2 requests to speak. Seth Cox, followed by Jessica Munoz.
I guess I missed a few meetings, so I want to speak a lot tonight, okay? Up front, I volunteer for 2 different organizations in town, okay? They are 501c3s, and one down in Riverside, 501c3. I'm not speaking for any of those. This is me talking. First up, the allocation of application number 9. If you have it on your list, I guess I can call out their name because it's public knowledge. Kingdom Causes Incorporating, doing business as CityNet. Okay? Looks like you're allocating them $913,000, $913,000 plus, okay? First of all, I mean, I applaud you for looking for, hopefully, resolutions to this, but I don't think it's the right resolution for Moreno Valley, okay? This company, based out of Long Beach, what presence do they have in the city? Do they have a footprint? Do they have a store? We already have one large absentee 501c or whatever they happen to be that's only open a couple of days a week, and we've given them millions of dollars over the years, and they haven't solved anything. This just looks like a slap in the face to all the 501c3s that's been up here tonight talking about they need help. I know it's CBDG money or home money or ESG, but why do we have to get allocated outside of even Riverside County? Okay? It just, the optics of it is terrible. Okay? First of all, the first thing anybody doing business as raises a red flag to me. Why do they need to do a business as? They're either one or the other. But if you go out and do the research, CityNet is an alliance partner with Kingdom Causes. They're all over the United States, I guess, making tons of money off getting people's grant money, it appears to be a money grab. Maybe I'm wrong, could be. I don't know what the vetting process is for it. I'm gonna run out of time. Second one, number 22, application number 22. City of Moreno Valley Capital Projects Division, allocating $2.7 million for sidewalks from Day Street to Grant Avenue. Does anybody know how long that distance is? Anybody know how much traffic actually goes down a road? How many foot traffic? It's supposed to impact 648 people. How do you get to that? $4,000 plus per 600 people. The optics of that is still wrong, okay? Giving grant money back to the city to allocate to other contractors to do work for the city. Thank you.
The final speaker is Jessica Munoz.
Good evening, Mayor Cabrera and council members. My name is Jessica Munoz, and I'm the CEO of Voices for Children. We're one of this year's CDBG applicants. First and foremost, I want to thank the city for the funds that we've received through the CDBG program in years past. As some of you know, Voices for Children is the court-appointed special advocate, or CASA program, serving Riverside County. It's our pleasure, privilege, and responsibility to train community members to serve as advocates for children in foster care. Sometimes people are surprised to learn that children who've been removed from their homes due to abuse or neglect and enter foster care have a judge assigned who oversees all of the decisions that will be made related to their family and their case. It's those judges that appoint the volunteers that Voices for Children recruits and trains to make it possible for volunteers to provide one-on-one, individual, and holistic advocacy, while also flagging and identifying any unmet needs for the court and social workers and other decision makers. From the child's perspective, the benefit is a caring, consistent adult. From the court and systems perspective, the benefit is valuable, sometimes life-changing information that wouldn't be available any other way. We are truly grateful for the children from Moreno Valley that we've been able to serve with the support of the CDBG program. And as the only CASA program for the county, if a child from Moreno Valley has a CASA volunteer, it's only because we have the resources and volunteers to provide it. So again, thank you so much for your past support, and we hope to be considered for future funding. Thank you very much.
The next two speakers are Luis Palomares and Roy Bleckard.
Luis Palomares, community activist. I support CASA. They've been here with us for so long, and they've done so much good work in our community and helped so many of our students in the schools and in foster care. My hat's off to them. I mean, they have to have a big heart to do this. It has to be like when you're a nurse or a doctor, you have to have the heart to do it, or fireman. So, like I said, they're gonna come for funding again, or they already have funding, but just keep it going, because they're the ones that make the difference in our community for a lot of our kids and students. And again, as far as what Cott said, I can't, it's unbelievable. 200 plus people in this community don't even know what we're doing here. We're giving so much money to outside people. Let's keep it here. Let's keep it here. We're contracting with other people. Let's keep it in our own. Let's keep it here. Let's spend the money here. Thank you.
The final speaker is Roy Bleckard.
In the almost 40-year history of this city, I can never remember only 4 speakers on the CGGB grants. It's usually like 6,000 of them. Let me address my native area, Edgemont. We got a water problem over there. We were told for 40 years the misuse. You wanted the lady mentioned LAFCO. This city, prove me wrong. Prove me wrong. This city was started illegally. Riverside Raceway was an island. They used it to hijack the redevelopment funds that were supposed to fix Edgemont water and redevelop that. We could have, and finally, actually, when Elena's mom got reelected in 2012, the city finally admitted we could use those funds to do that through some, let's say if you're going to take the roads out and put the wall, you can put the water line underneath it. And this is what I say, the lack of vision, the lack of communication, the lack of this city to put forth and entrust and seek the counsel of people that maybe have some expertise in how to do this. We could have probably done some of that. We could have done this a lot earlier. The people of Edgemont deserve to drink clean water. We, as a city, and I believe this with my heart, and again, that's my native area, I think this city wants it to look like that. Because it has for almost 40 years. Nobody lifts a hand. Yeah, you put a little window dressing on it. I've heard from practically every council member since 1984, oh yeah, we're going to do something. And it never gets done. We're only as good as a people as those who need the help. If we don't help them, that's on us. That's a reflection of us. That's a reflection of this community. We could do better. I believe, we choose not to. That's a fault of mine. That's a fault of everybody, I believe, in this community. I hope one day it will change.
And the final speaker is Bob Palomares.
Good evening again. Those two gentlemen that were here earlier that spoke, that they mentor young kids, teenagers. Man, that's great. You know, I think when you can catch a teenager that's either homeless or has problems, you know, at home or is living in the streets, and you can save them, that's great, especially these young men that came up here and spoke. I think one of them was Mr. McCullough. You know, he's been in prison, so he knows what it's like. So I think that's the best teacher because he's been there. And those are the people that I like to see get supported, just like Hole in the Wall. You know, they've been here forever, ground zero. They do a tremendous job. There's a lot of nonprofits, you know, there's never enough money for the work that they do. But if you got it, give them a hand. Thank you.
That concludes public testimony.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. So that brings us next to closing the public hearing at this time. And brings us into council deliberation. I do see a couple of hands raised here. First up, Mayor Pro Tem Bernard.
So Brian, first, thank you for the report. I was reading what was put out, and it says it's a funding recommendation. So can you explain that? Because I heard some numbers being thrown out, and it looks like it was a funding recommendation of possibly what they were requesting, not what we're giving them.
Yes, MPT. So if you recall, I did state that this informational packet of the one-year action plan at this point had what the application or applicant requested, as well as any prior funding that the city had funded that particular entity. So at this point, the figures that are in the far right column of any of the tables within the one-year action plan draft are what the applicant has requested. So in a lot of times you'll see like 5.6 million being requested for only basically $2 million worth of funding allocation that is estimated to be received by HUD. So by no means are we going to be able to allocate monies that we don't even get through this entitlement to fund those. That's where the hard decisions of staff are going through and evaluating all of the various applications, weighting them and grading them and seeing where that money can best be deployed. Also, one additional thing, there was a conversation about an applicant that would be on the public service side. That was about $913,000 that was thrown out there from a funding request. And then the city of Moreno Valley being also an applicant on the other section of CDBG. So just real quickly, Community Development Block Grant based on HUD regulations is broken down into three compartments. One is public safety, or sorry, public service, public social services is exactly what they call it. It cannot be more than 15% of the total CDBG entitlement estimate that we're getting from HUD. Then there's administration that is required, that HUD requires us to take in order to meet all of the accounting and regulatory framework in order to ensure that we're doing our due diligence and ensuring that the applicant or our pass-through entities that we contract with are actually doing what they're supposed to do. This is very restrictive monies, and therefore a lot of times those entities that are within the city of Moreno Valley don't even apply because they don't have the necessities related to the requirements. A lot of it has to do with publishing their own financials and going through an audit and so forth. The other section of the three-pronged compartments is other rehab. And so that rehabilitation a lot of times only comes with either annual street resurfacing, sidewalks, those types of things within the targeted areas of certain tracks based on the census data of HUD annually. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Brian. Next up, there was a hand.
I cleared it, but that was the question. I just wanted to make sure that there was an explanation from staff regarding the application process and the staff report. On the far right, it's funds requested, does not mean granted, requested, and then funding received last year. So I just wanted to thank you for bringing that up because that was my question. Thank you for clarifying.
Thank you very much. And I don't see any other hands raised at this time for council questions or comments. And I'll go ahead and entertain a motion to approve staff's recommendations.
I'll motion to approve staff recommendations.
I'll second.
There's a motion and a second. Please vote.
Councilmember Baca, Santa Cruz.
Yes.
Councilmember Delgado.
Yes, ma'am.
Mayor Pro Tem Bernard.
Yes.
And Mayor Cabrera.
Yes. That motion carries unanimously as well. That brings us next to item K, which is general business on our agenda. We do have a few items as well. K1 is our first item, which is an endorsement of funding request for the Center for Employment Opportunities from the Department of Justice's Burn JAG grant. And we have a report from our city clerk.
Thank you, Mayor. This item tonight is endorsement of funding requests for the Center for Employment Opportunities from the Department of Justice's Burn JAG grant. And basically, it's a letter to show support for this program. And it's the funding request from the Burn JAG grant. The recommendation aligns with the proposed amendments to the municipal code, specifically empowering the council to approve and sign letters of commendation and recommendation at a notice public meeting or upon recommendation by the city manager. That concludes staff's report. I'm available if you have any questions.
Thank you very much, Madam Clerk. At this time, I'll go ahead and turn back to the dais. Are there any council questions of staff? Councilmember Delgado.
Just real quick, is this letter from the mayor or the city itself? The city?
It can be from the mayor. We had drafted one up that was from the mayor.
That's what's in
But I
the
think
packet.
it can be from the council.
Well, I don't care. I just was wondering what.
From the mayor.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Are there any further questions from the dais? Seeing none, we'll go ahead and move into public testimony. Madam Clerk, do we have any requests to speak?
We have no request to speak, Mayor.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. That brings us to council deliberation if desired. Seeing none, I entertain a motion by council to approve staff's recommendations.
So moved.
I'll second.
There's a motion and a second on the floor. Please vote.
Councilmember Baca, Santa Cruz.
Yes.
Councilmember Delgado.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Bernard.
Yes.
And Mayor Cabrera.
Yes. That motion carries unanimously as well. That brings us next to item K2, which is 2024 City Council Committee Participation Appointments. And we have another report from our city clerk.
Okay. I'll wait for media to bring it up on the screen. Okay, this item is City Council direction regarding, oh no, that's the wrong one. Committee participation, please.
And Ms. Jane, while media figures that out, we could just take a quick 5-minute recess.
Okay.
Just a
This
quick
is the
break.
one.
Yeah, we'll be right back though.
Okay.
All right, good evening and welcome back to our city council meeting. We'll pick up where we left off, and I'll turn it back over to our city clerk for a report.
Thank you, Mayor. The item before you tonight is I'll read the title on the agenda, 2024 City Council Committee Participation Appointments. So on April 16th, 2024, former City Council member David Marquez submitted a letter of resignation. Due to his resignation, there are vacancies on the City Council Advisory Commission, boards, standing commissions, and interagencies. So what I did was I split this up in 3 separate groups. And the first group is the City Council Advisory Commission's boards. The highlighted areas are areas that were filled. Some of them are being replaced due to former council member Marcus's resignation. So we've got on the Environmental and Historical Preservation Board, we've got Councilmember Baca as the primary, and then we've got MPT Bernard as the alternate. Then for the Library Commission, we've got Councilmember Baca and Councilmember Delgado as the alternate. For the Senior Centers Board, we've got Councilmember Delgado as the primary, and Bernard is staying as the alternate. For Traffic Safety Commission, we've got the primary as Delgado, and then the new one is the alternate, Councilmember Baca. So the next group is the City Council Standing Committees. For the Economic Development Committee, we've got the primaries are Cabrera and the Mayor Cabrera and Councilmember Delgado, and we've got the alternate MPT Bernard. Finance Committee, we've got 2 primaries, and they are MPT Bernard and Mayor Cabrera. Whoops. And then Delgado is the alternate. For Public Safety Committee, we've got 2 primaries, MPT Bernard and Councilmember Delgado, and then we've got Councilmember Baca. For Parks and Community Services Council Committee, we've got Delgado, Councilmember Delgado as the primary, and MPT Bernard also the primary. You can appoint 2 primaries and 2 alternates. The 2 alternates are Councilmember Baca and Mayor Cabrera. For the agencies, for the March Joint Powers Commission, we've got the 2 primaries is standing, Mayor Cabrera and Councilmember Delgado, and we've got MPT Bernard as the alternate. For the Riverside County Habitat Conservation Agency, we've got as the primary, we've got MPT Bernard, and as the alternate, we've got Councilmember Delgado. And for Riverside Transit Agency, we've got, for the primary, we've got Bernard, MPT Bernard, and Mayor Cabrera. So those highlighted are the new recommendations for this group. So the recommendation is approve the mayor's recommendations to the various committees and regional bodies as noted on the 2024 Council Committee Participation List, or make adjustments to the 2024 Council Committee Participation List. That concludes staff's report. I'm available if you have any questions.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. That brings us to council questions of staff. And first up, Councilmember Baca Santa Cruz.
On the Public Safety Committee, there's an asterisk, but no indication of what it stands for. Is there a reason?
Oops. Public Safety Committee. Brian, do you know?
Yes, I can only think that that asterisk was on the old Public Safety Citizens Committee, subcommittee. And that went away over a year ago and probably just needs to be deleted.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. Any further questions from the dais? Seeing none, we'll go ahead and move into public testimony. Madam Clerk, do we have?
There is no speaker signing up.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. So we'll go ahead and move into council deliberation if desired. Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve the mayor's recommendations to the various committees and regional bodies as noted on the council committee participation list.
So moved.
I'll second.
All right, there's a motion and a second on the floor. Please vote.
Councilmember Baca Santa Cruz?
Yes.
Councilmember Delgado?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Bernard?
Yes.
And Mayor Cabrera?
Yes. That motion carries unanimously as well. That brings us to item K3, which is City Council direction regarding filling City Council District 3 vacancy. And we'll start with a report from our city clerk and our city attorney.
Oops. Okay. Mayor, good evening. This is the item before you tonight is City Council direction regarding filling City Council District Number 3 vacancy. So, Council Member District Number 3 resigns on April 16th, 2024, which created a vacancy immediately. Per Government Code Section 36512B states within 60 days of the date the vacancy occurred, council must make a choice. So I did a diagram and it very simply states there's a vacancy and within 60 days, which is by June 15th, City Council shall either appoint or call a special election. If they appoint, the appointee holds the office until the next general municipal election. If they go for if council goes for a special election, the election must be held on the next regularly established election date, which is November 5th, 2024, not less than 114 days from the date of the calling of the election. The winner of the election holds the office for the remaining term of the vacant office. So, if the council decides to appoint the vacancy, then the city clerk requests direction from the council whether interested citizens could complete an application, whether criminal background checks should be conducted, whether there will be individual interviews made available to each council member, or whether the council wants to conduct open interviews. And then lastly, whether City Council wants applicants to consent to disclosure of applications. So the other option is to call for an election. Okay, so the purpose to call for a special election, the purpose is to allow voters to decide who will fill District Number 3 seat that ends December 2024. Must be held on one of the established regular election dates. The November 2024 general municipal election would be the only date available the only established date that meets the criteria under the government code. Special election is consolidated with the general municipal election. So therefore, 2 District 3 will be on the ballot. For the remaining term, 2024, which is the special election, and for a full year term, 2024 to 2028. That's the full year, the regular, the 4-year term. If there is only one candidate, City Council may appoint candidate to fill remaining term. If there is no candidates, the City Council may appoint an eligible candidate to fill the remaining term, or hold a special election if there is only one candidate or no candidates to fill the remaining term of the vacant seat. So the recommendations, there's 1 and 2. 1 is adopt a resolution calling for a special election, which shall be consolidated with the November 5th, 2024 general municipal election to allow the voters to elect who shall serve the remaining term of the District Number 3, which expires on December 2024, upon the installation of the candidate elected by the voters on December 5th, 2024, to serve on the District Number 3 council member for the 2024 through 2028 term. Or number 2 is to decide to make an appointment to fill the District Number 3 vacancy until the installation of the candidate elected by the voters on November 5th, 2024, in December 2024, to serve as District Number 3 council member for the 2024-2028 term, and provide direction to the city clerk regarding appointment procedures deemed necessary and appropriate by the city council. That concludes staff's report. I'm available, as is our city attorney, for questions.
Thank you very much, Madam Clerk. That brings us now to council questions of staff. If there are any questions, please hit the speaker button. And first up, we have Councilmember Delgado.
So thank you, Madam Clerk, for that explanation. It gets a little confusing sometimes, so I want to ask you a question for clarification on this. If it goes to special election, there's going to be 2 questions on the special election. One is to cover the remaining time, which would be November 5 to December 31, 2024, and then to carry for the 24 through 28 year. Is that correct?
I'll defer to the city attorney for that question.
There's going to be 2 seats for District 3 appearing on the ballot. The first one is going to be the seat it's the position to fill the vacant seat until it terms out this year. And there's going to be a second seat to fulfill the 2024 to 2028 term. Now, what makes this really awkward is it all has to do with the timing of the resignation. That if the resignation occurred in January, it's likely our special election would have fell in June. So there's only 4 dates available. There's the first Monday in March, that's passed. First Tuesday after the first Monday in March, that's passed. The second Tuesday of April, in even-numbered years, that's passed. And then there's the June primary date, and that falls within that 114-day range. And so the next available date happens to be our general municipal election. But so the other thing that's going to be awkward about it, too, is if we have 2 separate candidates who win those 2 separate seats, the one elected to fill the vacancy until it expires is likely to get up there on the same day that the four-year candidate, it's, on that same day it's going to be installed. So from a practical perspective, this temporary council seat is going to be somewhat fleeting. It's just, you know, they'll get up there and get right down if two separate people are elected.
But that's the rule, and that's what we have to
The rule,
abide by.
that's what we're stuck with.
Okay, thank you.
Next up, Mayor Pro Tem Bernard.
So just so we're clear, can you explain the 114-day window for folks that might be, for residents that are probably wondering why this would not fall on the June election?
So the California Elections Code includes the 4 regular election dates that I just read off here. And so whenever there's a vacancy created on the council, we have to do one or the other, appoint or call a special election. Well, the Elections Code also provides that if you do call a special election, that special election can't take place any sooner than 114 days after you call the special election. So what we, you know, the way we approach this is that if you decide to call a special election, we count 114 days out. And then we schedule that special election for the first regular election date that comes up after that 114 days. So in this case, it's going to be our general municipal election in November.
Thank you.
I don't write this stuff.
We're just going
We have
to
to
do
do a
all
lot
the
of
case
math.
law study here. So then my follow-up question to that also is, because it's being consolidated, if we were to select the option to go with a special election, because it would be consolidated with a general election, what would that cost the city more money than the current general election?
I'll defer to the city clerk on the sticker shock.
Because District 3 is on the ballot anyway, I mean, we've got the figures for the estimated figures for the general election, and it's going to be, you know, consolidated. It's like $500,000. $500,000.
Wait, $500,000 more than it would cost if we only had one?
No, it's for the whole.
So
for
we were gonna spend that $500,000 to run the election anyway, so there no additional cost for having two.
No,
Okay.
It doesn't look like it.
Thank you.
At one time, it used to be around $45,000 to $65,000.
And just for further clarification, just one brief question. I think there was a similar situation, not identical, but similar, earlier this year in the primary elections for U.S. Senator. I believe it was the race that Alex Padilla ended up winning. There was a question on there basically twice, right? A similar situation to this one?
Correct.
Okay. Any further questions from the dais?
As Brian just said, short-term and long-term. Thank you. Makes it easier.
Okay, seeing no further questions from the dais, I'll go ahead and move into public testimony. Madam Clerk, do we have any requests to speak?
Yes, we do. I'll call 3 at a time. Brad Anderson, followed by Chris Baca, followed by Bob Palomares.
Hello again, Brad Anderson. I currently live in the city of Rancho Mirage. I'm not a native, but I do have an opinion concerning this. Just like I said, well, the non-agenda public comment, I mentioned that the city attorney is also the city attorney for the city of Rancho Mirage. And this has been an ongoing type and issue at my city since I've lived there. And my opinion is it's orchestrated, that city council members will step down at a certain point in time to allow for an appointment to take place. And the last time, I think it was this year, this happened again. And I actually put my name in the running too, but I withdrew because I really feel strongly that this is especially since you have districts. We do not have districts. The people in District 3, they have to elect the person that sits on this dais in this city council. That's my opinion. And appointments have a tendency to allow candidates to stay longer than they should, meaning they're more prone to get elected. It's just a step up That's my opinion, and I'm against that. So, and I know at my city, the cost was a factor. The city manager or the city attorney said he hates this, but he does it quite often. But it's, I think it was 70,000 the first time, and then the second time, the last time was quoted at $114,000 for the election, and that was unheard of. The city is very well, the city has a lot of resources, my city, so they could have easily spent that money to allow the people that live in the city to elect officials that they wish to serve them. And that's how I think this should take place today. Again, I'm not a native to the city, but that's my opinion, and the people should have the right to select the people that represent them. And that's all I have. Thank you.
The next speaker is Chris Baca, followed by Bob Palomares.
Good evening, community, council, and staff. The November election is like right around the corner. And we got some council seats, and we got the mayor seat, and then we got all these other elections. You know, we got people complaining, we got people wondering, you know, what's going on. This is opportunity. I'm talking to the community for you to participate. The seats are open. Mr. Delgado won by, I forgot the word, because nobody else ran against him. So he was the only one on the ballot, and he won by acclamation. And so with that in mind, I really think because of the special election that's going to run concurrent with the November election, there should be an appointment, a temporary appointment at this as ASAP in order for that candidate to be seated until the end of Mr. Marcus's term, which would be on the end of the year. It's kind of ridiculous. It is actually ridiculous if you think about it. It's similar, but not exactly what Dianne Feinstein's seat entailed, where during the primary you had the question for the person to complete her term and then for the runoff for her seat effective next year. So she was on the ballot twice, and that was it confused a lot of people. This is going to confuse a lot of people again in our municipal election, where there's going to be two questions for somebody to complete Marcus's seat for 8 weeks, if that. So the election will take place in November. You're going to have the question, who's going to complete Marcus's term until December 31st. And then that person may be somebody else that doesn't win the seat for 2025. So it's really kind of confusing. I ask that you really consider appointing somebody. Whether that person can commit not to run or whatever, that's a different question. But I really do think you need to appoint somebody from this point, ASAP, until the end of Marcus's term. And then the question on the ballot will simply be for somebody to fill the vacancy. And that'll be a vacancy that won't have anything to do with Marcus. So please consider appointing somebody. Being there's really not that much interest, maybe this kind of will bring out interest for people to run in the general election. So you'll have all these people applying to be appointed, and it'll be a trial run, and you'll get to see who's really interested in this, because basically nobody really is interested in none of this stuff. Thank you.
The next speaker is Bob Palomares, followed by Louise Palomares, followed by Roy Blecker.
This is confusing here. But I'm against appointments. I am. That's just the way I feel. That's my opinion. And I know what they say, $500,000 or something like that. But look at the other side. What did Marcus cost the city? I mean, we could have had a few elections in that case. But I hope you people make the best decision that benefits the city. You know, and you're the ones that are elected to make these decisions, so it's up to you. Thank you.
Louise Palomares, followed by Roy Blecker.
Well, this is confusing because the last time it didn't sound this confusing. As far as the city clerk said, it's going to be around the same price, whether we do it one way or not. Can we, or we have to fill this vacancy? Can we leave it vacant like we did with the other, when this happened before? And Marcus, on the way out, he's still costing us a lot of money. He's still costing us a mess in all of this. I mean, couldn't he just wait? What really happened here? Why did he leave us just yet? It would have been nice if he would have just not ran for the seat and finished his term. But look where we're at. Even he leaves us with chaos again. I mean, coming and going. He's costed the city so much money. I mean, when does it end? Not even now. Not even at the 11th hour it's ending. Wow. And I don't support an election. I mean, I don't support backup. I don't support an appointment. Let the people choose. Let the people say who they want. If it's going to cost us a little more, and with all the confusion, crossover, 3 days, 14 days, they're going to be in there, and then they're going to go in and then leave the seat. Do the council members see the big picture? Because I'm not seeing it all. It's very confusing. And I know you ask questions too, but wow, this is confusing to me. But I always say elect, give the people a vote. Thank you.
The final speaker is Roy Bleckard.
So we're here talking Government Code 36512. I think that's because someone come up here and said something about 36513. And they were told, because I'm standing here, I didn't know what I was talking about. This whole thing is ridiculous. If you choose either option, it's costing us $500,000 in an election. That is stunning. Either way, I look at this whole room. I've only seen one person down at the County Board of Supervisors, and he's standing right here, who's been asking what the hell is going on down there. You should continue and table this item right now. We should have a full and complete explanation before any decision is made, because it flat needs to be clarified. It flat needs to be a chart up there and saying exactly what is going to happen either way. And if this thing's costing us $500,000 either way, or even potentially, this comes back to the action that happened back in October with the October surprise and the whole damn thing. We allowed this to go. We didn't. This dais did not put the mayor and the former councilman under oath, do a proper investigation, so we wouldn't even be here. No, we had to run lawsuits and file in court. Us Forbidden Five, remember that? Remember your colleague that was sitting in that empty chair that called us that? He's causing this. I don't see how. For one, we need to start getting our act together. Again, as I just said, no matter what you talk about, prove me wrong. I don't care if we're talking about water lines, elections, or anything else that's happening. I cannot emphasize, we need to retool this whole thing. That was, if you, and I'm going to ask this question, you think it's proper in that way to put this stuff on the agenda and a report and give us that? And we're even more confused than when we walk up here, and that's pretty amazing. I didn't think that could happen.
That concludes public comment, Mayor.
Thank you very much, Madam Clerk. And with that, we'll go ahead and move into council deliberation. And just for clarification, because I think there's some misunderstanding here regarding the cost of going in the direction of leaving this to an election. Just for clarification, if you could, I don't want to butcher it anymore, but it's not going to cost us any extra funds or tax dollars if we leave this to an election, because it'll be on the same ballot as the general November election.
That's my understanding, Mayor. We've got a citywide mayor seat, then we've got District 3, and then we have District 1. And so that's a cost. I mean, it's just skyrocketed.
Yeah, thank you. So just again, to reiterate, if we choose to leave the District 3 vacancy to an election, it doesn't cost us any more. We're already paying for the November election, and this is not going to cost us any additional funds. So I hope that clarifies that point. I do want to just keep my comments brief on this one, and I think, and I hope that there's consensus on this. It sounds like there is, for the most part, that we should let the voters of District 3 decide who's going to represent them next. Not just for that week or two, but for the next 4 years, from 2024 to 2028. And I'll leave my comments at that. Mayor Pro Tem Bernard?
So I know if we were to table this, let's say we do nothing, it still basically kicks off running into an election? Yes, right?
I think so.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. And so as the mayor commented already, we already have an election coming up. This would just go on the ballot. We're already paying the $500,000. It is not a separate cost. What I was trying to do was establish that it was not going to be a separate cost if we were to go into an election, because elections, special elections, often cost us money. The term special election is on this because technically, since the term is not complete, it would be considered a special election. So we have to distinguish it. And trust me, I read this agenda and have been walking through it with the city attorney. I asked the city clerk 10 ways from Sunday. This is going to be confusing. But I also have a firm belief that the voters of Moreno Valley are smart, that they will understand what's being asked of them, and that they can make a decision. I do think it is, though, unfair of us to make an appointment for a seat, especially when we've seen what happens when appointments are made, especially in this city in particular. I would like the residents to have a choice on who they would like to sit in that seat. I don't want to make that choice for them. Does that mean that we will all be balancing what's happening and the needs of District 3? It sure does. But as I explained to the children when I go to see kindergartners, the mayor is basically your citywide elected council member. That's also his responsibility as well as mine. So it's not that there will be no representation. We're just going to have to spread it out. It's just like when someone leaves your job. You weren't banking on it, but you got to do what you got to do, and you got to spread the wealth and get the job done. So thank you.
Thank you. Next up, Councilmember Delgado.
I too believe that the residents of District 3 should make that choice, and it shouldn't be up to us to make that choice for them. So I do believe we have a consensus, and I'll let Councilmember Baca Santa Cruz speak and then throw out a motion there.
Thank you. Next up, Councilmember Baca Santa Cruz.
I'm also in agreement of letting the voters choose. It was just, 2 years ago, I stood at the podium and asked, how dare the body up here make a decision for District 1? I stood up there and said, call for an election for District 2. This isn't new to Moreno Valley. We've had to cover each other, and just as Mayor Pro Tem Bernard said, that was what we said when we asked for a citywide mayor, was so that we could increase representation. Every person would have 2 representatives, their district council member and the mayor, which is basically an at-large council member. So this is the time for that position to step in, and like Mayor Pro Tem said, we'll all help out. You know, I border District 3 and Alessandro, and they, District 4 borders, and we'll all pitch in and help over the next couple months. But I think it's in the best interest of the voters to allow them to decide who their council member is. So I'll let you make your motion and second that.
So my motion would be city's recommendation number 1, adopt the attached resolution calling for a special election which shall be consolidated with the November 5th, 2024 general municipal election to allow the eligible voters in the city of Moreno Valley to elect who shall serve the remaining term of the vacancy created by the resignation of former District 3 council member, which expires December 2024.
I second that motion.
Okay, there's a motion and a second. Please vote.
Councilmember Baca Santa Cruz?
Yes.
Councilmember Delgado?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Bernard?
Yes.
And Mayor Cabrera?
Yes. And that motion carries unanimously. That brings us next to item L, which is the Regional Commission and Committee reports. We have a few. We'll start off with Councilmember Delgado. I believe you have 2.
I do.
Yes.
I'll
go
start
right
with the RCA Board of Directors meeting that was held on May 6, 2024, and the following reports were received and filed. There was no action. The MSHCP fee collections up to February 2024 were discussed and approved, or filed. Joint project review, or JPR status, property acquisition status, agency investment, first quarter's public engagement metrics report, and the state federal legislative updates. Additionally, staff recommendations were approved for the acquisition of tax defaulted properties, none of which were located in the city of Moreno Valley, and the adoption of the fiscal year budget 2024-25. That concludes my report on the RCA Board of Directors meeting. Next, I will talk about the JPC meeting, or the Joint Powers Authority meeting that was held on April 24th. Tonight, I'm providing an update from March Joint Powers Commission meeting that was held on Wednesday, April 24th. We heard a presentation about the 4th Air Force and an update about the traffic monitoring at the March Business Center. There was an update on the Commissioners' legislative advocacy meetings that were held in Washington, D.C. We approved an amendment to the agreement with the Meridian Park to grant a time extension for the developer to complete their review of the airport property. And finally, we approved the JPA's first environmental justice element of their general plan, which will provide development guidance until the County of Riverside assumes the land authority in 2025. And that concludes my report for the March Joint Powers Commission meeting that was held on Wednesday, April 24th. That's all I have, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Councilmember. Next up, we have a report from the Riverside County Transportation Commission. Just a brief report from the meeting that was held on April 22nd. Tonight, I'm providing updates from the RCTC Budget and Implementation Committee meeting held on April 22nd. The committee heard a presentation regarding the proposed fiscal year 24-25 budget and recommended the commission discuss, review, and provide guidance. The committee also heard a presentation of the adopted 2024 State Transportation Improvement Program, also known as STIP. That concludes my report on the last RCTC Budget and Implementation Committee meeting. That brings us next to a report from RTA by Mayor Pro Tem Bernard.
Tonight I'm providing updates from the RTA Board of Directors meeting held on April 25th. The board ratified the MOU between Riverside Transit Authority and ATU Local 1277 effective April 28th, 2024. The board authorized to award an agreement to Perfection Painting Corp. To complete exterior painting at the Riverside and Hemet facilities. This concludes my report of the last RTA Board of Directors meeting, but wait, there's more. I'm also providing updates from the RTA Board and Administration Operations Committee meeting held on May 1st. The committee approved the RTA's updated public transportation agency plan. The committee authorized staff to renew the revenue agreements with UCR for the reimbursement of operating expenses of Route 51 and Route 56. That concludes my report on my last RTA Board Administration and Operations Committee meeting.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. And the final report is for WRCOG by Councilmember Blanca Santa Cruz.
I'm going to give my report at the next meeting.
That's right. Thank you. And that'll conclude the reports for tonight. Item M, we don't have an employee association report this evening. And that brings us to the famous city manager's report.
Thank you, Mayor, members of City Council. Just 3 items tonight. First is just a reminder, our next big event for the city is our Public Safety Expo. This is on May 18th, Saturday from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Be right here in front of Civic Center. It's a very popular event. It is a free event, and come out and see all the cool public safety items that the city has. The second item is, once again, more awards for the city. The first award I want to announce, this is the Award of Excellence. This is from SCAG. The SCAG is the Southern California Association of Governments. This is an organization consisting of 191 cities within Southern California, and we recently received a top Award of Excellence in the sustainability category, and this is for the Cottonwood apartment housing in which the council approved, and this is 112 affordable housing units that was approved by council. It was a lot of coordinated effort to get this project up and running, and this is a project in which it requires a lot of coordination with also the county partners and other agencies to get this project up and running. But it's a fantastic project, and we received the Award of Excellence for this from SCAG. And the other award we received, this is another award of excellence. This is actually from CalEd, which is the Organization of Economic Development Officials in California. And we received the top award of excellence for our various mobile programs for our youth and education. And as you know, we embark on really having a fantastic program to help our youth and getting them to really work on either going to school or getting higher educational attainment. And it is really 5 programs that was all approved by council. First is the College Promise. College Promise is a program that we started in which we're actually funding our residents to go to Minerva College and pay for any of the gap financing funding that they might lack to go to Minerva College. The second program is a very popular Mobile Learners program. Once again, this is our first universal student basic income in which we help 50 students every year to help them in their CTE education on the second year so that they can hurry up and finish, either get a CTE certificate or transfer to a 4-year college. The third program is our Career Day Academy. We run this 4 times a year in which we invite high school students and our college students. Over 800 students have participated annually, in which they are exposed to various components for either in government, either in entrepreneurship, either in medicine, and also manufacturing. So that is something that we also run. And then when we had potentially with the trades in which are looking for people to get into trades, we now run a apprenticeship expo with our trade organization, and it's a very popular event in which the trades will come out. We have an event at the CRC, and we're busing kids from not just Riverside County, but also now San Bernardino County to come to our city to attend the Apprenticeship Expo. And finally, we are also a participant with the College Corp. We applied for that grant, but we didn't get it ourselves, but our college did, so we partner up with them, in which we are we have a few of the fellow in our organization, but also help them placement in other organization within the city. So once again, this is actually 5 programs altogether, making this a very comprehensive program. I think throughout the state, there is no other cities that has these type of programs to really help our youth. And once again, congratulations to the city, but thank you for your support for, of course, the Cottonwood Project and also this program for the city. So thank you very much.
Thank you, as always, Mr. City Manager, for bringing home some more awards. And thank you to all of our staff for making that happen as well. Well done, as always. That brings us to our council closing comments, and we'll start off with Councilmember Baca Santa Cruz.
Good evening. I would like to share some recent events that I was able to attend. I attended the city's Earth Day last month. We were able to spend time with residents talking about ways to help the earth. We had a demonstration in the garden. We learned how to replant some tomatoes. The children were able to paint rocks and play with an assortment of animals that were way too scary for me. So I sat back and watched it. Very brave souls up there. Looked like they had a wonderful time. The weather was perfect, and we got to celebrate our earth. I also attended 2 unveilings of art murals, one at the library on Alessandro and one up at Shadow Mountain Park. I attended on Saturday the Muslim Family Foundation's 8th Annual Family Symposium, where we learned about mental health and how the media and the war is affecting our families. Very good information there. And also the Student of the Year banquet, where one student from each of Myrna Valley's high schools was selected. Each of the students showed resilience and persistence to achieve their educational goals, despite the many adversities that their young lives had already endured. So it was a great way to celebrate our youth. And we'll be, I want to wish all the mothers out there a happy Mother's Day is coming up this weekend. So if you still are lucky enough to have your mom, please give her a big hug. And if not, well, just thank a mom that you know, because it's a lot of thankless work out there, but I'd love to. It's the best job except for being a grandma. That's the best job. So that's the end of my comments. So thank you very much, and that's it.
Thank you. Next up, closing comments from Councilmember Delgado.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and I'll make this brief. I, too, attended the mural at the Shadow Mountain. The artist there was extremely inspirational to all of us that were there, and she has a lifelong footprint at Shadow Mountain Park, and she's only, I think she's 26 or 27 years old. Her lifelong dream was to be an artist, and she fulfilled that by applying here with that grant. So it was awesome. I attended the Student of the Year banquet for the Myrna Valley Valverde school districts, and those kids were absolutely. I leave there every single time feeling inadequate. They are going to be the new leaders of this area. They're very, very inspirational. They all had challenges coming up in high school, and they overcame them. And not only are they graduating, they're applying and accepted to colleges. But they're setting the example for their families and friends, their family members and friends as well. So it was super cool. I spent 2 weeks in D.C., not so much from the city, but the JPA. But what that did was it allowed us to have a voice in D.C. regarding the base. It was all about the base, and we are the entrance to the base. So a lot of the stuff that we were advocating for was directly affecting Myrna Valley. So it was very, very fruitful. We got the ears of a lot of high-powered people, a lot of legislators, military folks. So you guys, the city staff, will be hearing soon some of the fruits of our labor on that trip. We also we were at a ribbon-cutting ceremony for a park playground dedication in District 4, I believe, in Shaylinda's district. And that was really cool because the kids were out there. Coincidentally, they were out there playing, and we got to say, hey, you want to be in this picture? So they showed off their playground skills. I know we had a lot tonight. I think we work very well as a team up here. Early on, we had some things we had to work out. We worked them out, I think. One of the things that really brought to light this past week was I'm driving around Myrna Valley, and I'm seeing all these projects that we had voted on previous meetings, the 7-Eleven, the warehousing, the paved streets, the signage up in my district that you guys jump on. It's amazing on the things that we're getting done, and it happens here. Not necessarily the votes, but these people in this room here, and I'm very proud. I look at Caltrans, and they're trying their best to keep up with us, but I mean they're trying, and we keep advocating for them, right? But I'm very proud of what we're doing, and you guys may not know it, but when we drive around the city, I see the fruits of our labors. So thank you guys very much. And this is my daughter's first Mother's Day, and so. We're going to make it special for her, but it's also special for all of our mothers and grandmothers. And like the mayor's message said on social media, it's any mother, grandmother, aunt, uncle, tia. Yeah, some are uncles. I mean, my bad. But congratulate them, hug them. And like Elena said, if your mother is still around, hug her. And mine's not, so I don't get to. But my daughter and my wife, I will. So be nice to one another. I know it's it's not that hard, Jesse, Mr. Park, it's not that hard. So we try. If you can make a difference in one person's life every single day, if you make them smile, you made a difference. As simple as making someone smile. Right, Lana, watch. Done. I succeeded. Thank you, guys. Have a great Mother's Day, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you. Next up, Mayor Pro Tem Bernard.
So I would like to first state that I did go to the Earth Day event that we had here. I took my youngest son with me. He was able to paint a bag that is sitting in the back of my car because he told me that's mommy's bag for her car. So that's where that stays now. It's not allowed to leave my car. But it was a lot of fun. Like Councilmember Baca Santa Cruz stated, the children had a lot of fun. There were reptiles there, a very large yellow, I think it's an anaconda, but I've been told that's not what it was. But it was big because it took like 7 people to hold it. So yeah, well, it doesn't matter. I wasn't getting near it. And so I think that was really fun and interesting for the children and for just the residents as a whole. Also, as Councilmember Delgado stated, the parks are being rehabilitated throughout the city of Moreno Valley, and we started it off with JFK Park. One of the things I talked to a lot of residents about when I ran was making sure that our children were going to be able to play at these parks, because it becomes 107, 103, and if it's too hot to play, you're not going to make it outside. And so I really appreciate staff making sure that our parks are being updated with updated equipment, replacing the water fountains with the water refill stations. And one thing that I thought was really good that I had never considered, I was just talking about covering up the slides, was there is a large covering over the swings. So even when the sun's at the highest point, it's still actually technically in the shade. So I appreciate city staff for all that they're doing to get that done. Jeremy and his staff are just wonderful in the way they've been really getting these parks together. As you heard, we approved the pump track tonight, and so there's just a lot happening. This past week, I was in Palm Desert for SCAG with the fabulous Brian Mohan, because he's my favorite, and Angel, where, as you heard, we won the award for the sustainability, and I'm always in awe and very happy with the city of Moreno Valley and all the awards that we get. Our staff works diligently to make sure that the residents are getting the most services and that we're actually able to do the policy directions that we've been giving up here. So I appreciate you for always continuing to work towards affordable housing and making sure that our residents' needs are being met. Also, I attended the Muslim Family Foundation Mental Health Symposium along with Councilmember Baca Santa Cruz, and it was very interesting to see, because what most people don't understand is that depending on your upbringing, what your religion is, there are taboos that only your community can speak to, and that's what they were addressing: the war in Gaza and how it's giving mental health, PTSD, and the ways that they can work through that, and how parents can better understand where their children may be coming from with the protests, even if they're not being supportive of that. So I appreciate being able to have those open dialogues and conversations, and I appreciate them for opening up their doors and allowing myself and Councilmember Baca Santa Cruz in there to see that. And with that, I think that's everything. Happy Mother's Day. If you're a godmother, happy Godmother's Day. And if you're a big sister like myself who basically raised your little siblings, they still owe you something too. Good night.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. And just to piggyback on the topic of what's going on in the Middle East, just want to give a shout out to my fellow Highlanders over at UC Riverside and also to Chancellor Wilcox and his team for being able to come to an agreement and avoid unfortunate situations that we've seen on other university campuses. Very, very proud this week to be a Highlander. So a shout out to all Highlanders and to all the students who helped to make that happen as well. A couple things that have been mentioned already, but just want to reiterate them as well. Tonight on consent calendar, we approved finally the pump track that has been in the works for a couple years, some delays for various reasons, but finally that'll be coming hopefully by the end of 2025, if not early 2026. That'll be completed over at Morrison Park. So a lot of firsts. It's going to be the first of its kind for various reasons, but thank you to staff for making that happen. Also on the consent calendar, we approved about 3 items related to pavement rehab, maintenance, and rehabilitation. Part of that was our next 5-year plan. If anyone is interested, you can look up the staff report and see the map of all the roads that are going to be repaved and fixed over the next 5 years. So that's huge. We're going to continue that momentum and that investment that we've made for the past couple of years to make sure that our streets are in good condition. And we've seen the difference. We've seen a massive difference around the city, and we're going to continue that work moving forward as well. On the topic of pavement, Caltrans, a few weeks ago or a couple months ago, Mayor Locke Dawson, Mayor Vargas, and I sent a joint letter to Caltrans asking them to do something about the pavement conditions on the 215 headed north, right by the March JPA. And while it hasn't been completely repaved, I was driving on it the other day, and they are paving parts of the lanes. So I have to acknowledge that. I want to give Caltrans a thank you for starting to work on it. I know it's not a small dollar amount to do that kind of work, so just appreciate them, taking some steps to do it. But there's still a lot more work to do on that 215. We have to make sure that we take care of that. JFK Playground was already mentioned as well as part of our $6 million park improvement plan, and that includes a lot of things, including things like restrooms. Community park restrooms is one that gets asked for a lot. That is going to be upgraded. Water fountains, and also, I wasn't aware of the number, but I believe it's between 12 and 15 new parks that are going to be coming to the city of Moreno Valley over the next few years. They've either already been entitled and approved, or they are under construction. So that's almost half the number of parks that we currently have that's going to be coming over the next few years. Some of these take longer than others, but over 10 new parks that are going to be coming to the city of Moreno Valley. So that's exciting, because we want to make sure we're providing those amenities and those facilities for our residents, and especially our children, to be able to use as well. On May 4th, I was able to attend the Daisy Walk that's organized by Daisy Tate, and that takes place over at the Old General Golf Course. That is an event to recognize our veterans, our fallen heroes, and also to put emphasis and a spotlight on mental health, especially for our military personnel. So I want to give a shout out to Daisy Tate and everybody who made that happen. It was a very, very beautiful ceremony that took place. Also would like to mention that 85 Degree is finally open. It is a soft opening. Grand opening is happening later this month. So a lot of people are excited about that. Dutch Bros is still under construction, hoping to open by the end of the year. We will see how quickly they move. A lot of murals coming, and I was also able to attend last month the City Leaders Summit in Sacramento. On behalf of the City of Moreno Valley, I was able to meet with Speaker Robert Rivas, Senator Roth, Senate Pro Tem, and several other elected officials to advocate on behalf of the City of Moreno Valley, making sure that we are at the table as well. And in closing, would like to also reiterate and echo comments from my colleagues regarding Mother's Day. Feliz Dia de las Madres. Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there for everything that you do to keep our community moving forward and raising our community in the process. So with that, we'll go ahead and conclude today's meeting, and we will adjourn in memory of Patty Goodman. Goodman? Goodwin.
Yeah.
We will adjourn tonight's meeting in memory of Miss Patty Goodwin. Have a good night, everyone.